I just posted a new FIR interview with my old friend Peter Vogt, who is the Global Head of Employee Communications and Experience at BBVA. That's a financial services institution based in Madrid. And Peter is doing a weekly employee video. It's about a 2.5 minute long video news brief called What Just Happened. And if you want to learn more about the video, go listen to the interview. I thought Peter was terrific. But he told me that in order to assess the effectiveness of the video, he surveys employees every quarter. Now, if you are involved in employee communications or human resources, you have probably heard about the issue of over-surveying employees. And to survey employees every quarter would fall into that category. You'd hear a lot of people complain about, oh, employees are just burned out on surveys. We can't survey them that much. And this is concerning to me because if you hold everything back for the big annual survey, then you're going to ask a ton of questions. You're going to end up being fairly broad in your approach and try to implement fixes and solutions all at once based on what you learned in this big, massive annual survey. I think it's much better to get input on an ongoing basis. And the question then is, how do you overcome this issue of over-surveying employees? Well, Peter does it by making these surveys non-obtrusive. They're attached to other content and they're fairly short. We're not trying to get a lot of information. In my feeds this week, I also saw a story in the Harvard Business Review blog. This was also about getting employee feedback into the loop, and it focused on Hulu, the streaming TV service. And what was happening is that they found that customers were sticking with Hulu. You know, there's lots of competition from Netflix and Amazon Prime and the like. They were sticking with Hulu even though they didn't have a really positive impression of the organization. And that negative impression was the result of customer service reps who were pressuring customers to stay with the company. Now, we talk a lot about the customer experience, and the customer experience is the cumulative impact of every touch point a customer has with a company, from becoming aware of the organization to tech support and customer support to follow-up issues to the use of the product and the like. And if you're contacting customer service a lot and they're putting a lot of pressure on you, that's going to have an impact on that cumulative customer experience. So what Hulu did was they started surveying employees after every transaction. They were already doing this with customers. You've probably heard that. Stay on the line and answer a few brief questions. They started asking employees questions after those transactions. What they asked customers is, was your problem solved? Are we easy to work with? And did you enjoy the experience that you just had? What they asked employees was, did you solve the problem? Was it easy to access the tools and resources you needed to solve the problem? And did you feel proud to represent our brand in the conversation? Now, they were able to take that information, marry it up with what they were getting from customers, and figure out how to solve problems and how to address issues and how to better serve the customer in order to deliver on that promise of the customer experience. And getting this feedback from employees is really consistent with what we have seen in research. In fact, the Harvard Business Review cites a bit of research that found that most employees feel that they do have solutions to offer the company. These are frontline employees who have solutions that they can provide the company, and most of those felt that these solutions would actually save the company money or help make the company money. So again, we're finding that having input from employees on a regular basis serves the organization well. Now, I used to do this when I was director of corporate communications at a Fortune 500 company. We used to survey employees after every communication. This could be after an issue of the employee publication came out. This was back in the early 90s. We were still printing publications. It could be after an all-hands meeting or a benefits communication or some kind of special communication. We could end up doing this survey 4, 5, 6 times in a month. Now, it wasn't an all-employee survey. Peter's survey at BBVA on the employee video is an all-employee survey. Ours went out to 100 randomly selected employees, hardly statistically valid, but we were asking just 16 short questions, 4 in each of 4 categories. Those categories are based on this concept. It's a great concept with a terrible name. It's called the Pyramid of Communication Quality, and it was developed by the late, great Ed Robertson, who ran employee communications for FedEx. And the Pyramid of Communication Quality is sort of based on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. There are 4 levels. The first level is logistics, and the logistical level of communication answers questions like, did it get to you on time? If you've ever gotten a benefits communication 5 days after the enrollment period ended, that was a failure of logistics. If you couldn't read it because the type was too bad or the design was awful, that's another logistical failure. The next level is attention. Did this communication grab the attention of the audience? The next level is relevance, and there's really 2 parts to this. Does it have something to do with me? And by paying attention to it, am I able to improve my odds of success, be more efficient, increase the likelihood of getting a bonus or a raise or a promotion? And once you get through those 3 levels, logistics, attention, and relevance, you can finally get to the top level, which is, what do you want from the employee? What behavior are you looking for? Are you looking for them to do more of something different? So we asked 4 questions around each of these categories. We mixed them up so it wasn't really obvious that we were leading employees down this path. But when we got the results back, we put them back in order, and even though the results were not statistically valid, it was pretty easy to see if we hit all the marks or if we failed at one of those levels. And if we found that we failed at the attention level or at the relevance level, we knew what to do to fix that, either to get that message out again or to make sure it got out effectively the next time. And nobody ever complained about being over-surveyed, because in a company with 7,000 or 8,000 employees, only 100 were getting this every communication. So we need to resist this idea of over-surveying employees. Certainly, if every survey is 100 questions and is going to take a half hour to do, and every employee gets the survey, and you're sending those out every couple of weeks, definitely, then you're over-surveying your employees. But there are ways to get feedback from employees through survey mechanisms that don't lead to this over-survey syndrome, and we really need to jump on that. That's it for the Shrink Wrap this week. I'll see you next week.